It has been 10 years since I have seen Absinthe on the Las Vegas Strip. This is one of Spiegelworld's most popular shows, one of the most popular shows on Las Vegas Strip, probably since it came out. It's been one of the #1 shows ever. We are super excited to go check this out. It's been so long. We actually got these tickets through our Caesars status. Now, if you have diamond status at Caesars, you check in at one of the booths in Caesars Palace, scan your card, it should give you a bit of a discount. So the cheapest tickets we were able to find in person were $150 at the booth, at the box office. Don't buy those, check online. There are some better deals, about $130 or so. The deal that we found was for the late show at 11 o'clock. We are a little bit crazy. We are checking the 11 o'clock show out. But we were able to get these tickets for $90 plus service fees and everything. So they end up, of course, adding another $30 or so to that. But anyway, we're walking there right now. Check in with you shortly.
Absinthe actually first premiered in 2006, but has been playing in front of Caesars Palace on the Las Vegas Strip since April 1st, 2011. Since opening, Absinthe has had rave reviews. Paul Carb, the Huffington Post, even proclaimed, "If I could only see one show my entire life, I'd want it to be that." It was also called the greatest show in Las Vegas history by Las Vegas Weekly. Absinthe is your typical Spiegelworld show. It's hosted by a very crass individual. In this case, it's going to be the Gazillionaire, who has a co-host with him, is probably equally as dirty as he is, maybe if not even more.
All right, we are just waiting for the show to start. It's very intimate. It's not quite full in here, but we are catching the late show. It's like 11 o'clock. I don't know how much they'll let me film. I'll try and capture a few things for you guys as usual. No spoilers though, because you guys have to come and see the show for yourself. Check with you later.
Now, as for the show itself, you're essentially in the Gazillionaire's circus. You're watching his performers do anything from, acrobatics, singing, dancing, sword swallowing, you name it. In terms of the location, you are in what they call the Spiegel tent. This is essentially like an old circus tent outside of Caesars Palace. It only has about 750 seats, so it's very small capacity, and I'm pretty sure every chair in there is different. It's very rustic, it looks very thrown together, but that's part of the charm. You really do feel like you are in this sort of roadside attraction. And the stage itself is only 9 feet in diameter, so it's very small, very intimate. You get, right up close and personal. Such a great experience. Now, something I had no idea, and I'm not sure if you guys knew this either, so if you knew about this, comment below, but the show was actually originally slated to open at Fontainebleau. Now, Fontainebleau, obviously, as we know, the history, it only just recently opened on the Las Vegas Strip after over 10 years of delays. So anyway, long story short, Caesars Palace basically allowed the producers to set up a temporary tent at the Roman Plaza, but unfortunately within 90 days of performances after inspections and this and that, the organizers were told they had to shut down the production. But the show was so successful that Caesars Palace actually decided to purchase the Spiegel tent that you see today. Up until December 31st, 2023, Spiegelworld actually had 3 concurrent shows on the Las Vegas Strip. So obviously that being Absinthe at Caesars Palace, Atomic Saloon at the Venetian, and Opium at the Cosmopolitan. But unfortunately, Opium did actually close on New Year's Eve in 2023. That said, Spiegelworld will be opening a brand new show at the Link in the summer of 2024. This will be a similar experience to sort of Superfrico and Opium, in that there will be a restaurant experience there as well called Diner Ross. I'm super excited to be checking this one out. You can actually purchase tickets for as early as July 27th for Discoshow, and they are currently taking reservations for Diner Ross, so make sure you guys check that one out as well.
All right, so Absinthe. I checked out the show yesterday. Thought I should give you, a few little tidbits of, final thoughts, what we, thought about the show, the whole experience, any recommendations I can give to you, etc. So first thing I will say is this show is not cheap. I mean, our tickets were, I'll get into our tickets momentarily. We went to the box office, which is located outside of Caesars Palace, right near where the show actually takes place. Their cheapest tickets they offered us were $150. So not cheap, and that was the cheapest. We did check online a little bit. So like if you go to places like vegas.com, for example, and some other, websites like that, you can sometimes find deals here and there. I believe locals as well. If you are a Vegas local, you can get some kind of a discount too. What we found out just from asking around is Caesars members will also get discounts. So we both are Caesars Diamond, at least at the time of recording this video. So they told us that we could get $90 tickets, I believe it was. So what you have to actually do is scan your Caesars Diamond card at one of the kiosks, the rewards kiosks in Caesars, and check out your promotions. And you should see an option in there to get discounted tickets to Absinthe. So once you press that, it'll give you a QR code. You scan your phone on there, and you will be able to purchase your tickets from Ticketmaster. My understanding is this is only for Saturday and Sundays, and this is only for the 11 p.m. show. So we did actually see the 11 p.m. show. Us being from Toronto, the fact that, we do have that 3-hour time difference, that's kind of close to being like 2 in the morning for us. So I will admit it was a little bit later than perhaps we'd like to have seen the show, but at the end of the day, we still had fun. So, everything worked out. It was fine. And we did stay awake, I will add to that. Now, funnily enough, they do actually serve absinthe in there. So, if you are an absinthe fan of, in terms of the drink, you can actually get it in there. They're not cheap. I believe for 2, I want to say it was around $50-ish, but that's probably pretty standard in Vegas. I mean, drink prices here are a little bit outrageous, right? So the show runtime is about 1.5 hours. This is your typical Spiegelworld show. I mean, if you've seen one Spiegelworld show, I want to say you've seen them all, but you haven't really. I mean, the format's always the same. There's always some kind of a theme. This particular one is that you are at the Gazillionaire's little circus, basically, and these are his performers, and etc. Like I said, I saw this show personally around 10 or so years ago. Now, I don't remember everything. What I do remember is that the actor who played the Gazillionaire, I'm 99% sure was a different actor. What I will also mention is that the sort of co-host, I guess you'd call her, when I saw this show, her name was Penny, which is, I didn't even catch the joke there that, Gazillionaire and Penny. But anyway, Cody pointed that out to me yesterday. Never got that. The new co-host's name is Wanda, at least at the time of recording this video. That's who we had. Super funny, hilarious, very vulgar. The jokes were very, very inappropriate. Same with the Gazillionaire, very, very inappropriate. Now, I don't remember exactly everything I saw, because again, I saw this show around 10 years ago. There were certain things that I did pick up that were similar, but as far as I can remember, pretty much all the acts were different from what I saw 10 or so years ago. I think the final, or at least one of the final acts, was very similar, but I don't think the actual people who were in the show were the same. I think it was completely different. I don't know how often they do change things out, but definitely seemed to be different. I will also say that you can see that this show can change. I mean, if I went to see it again tonight, for example, we saw it last night. If I went to see it again tonight, it would probably be a little bit of a different show. I'm sure not every single act is going to be there every single night, because I have heard that some of these acts do, perform in other shows. I remember there was one in particular. There was like a roller skating couple that I believe we saw when we saw the show about 10 or so years ago, who was also in another show at Planet Hollywood at the time. I don't know if that still is the case, but anyway, from what I understand, some of these performers will perform in other shows. But also, it's not even just that, it's the interaction with the audience that I think what sells this show. So on one side of the group, for example, there was a bunch of older gay men, and on the other side there were a group of people that that the Gazillionaire referred to as Republicans. Whether they were or not, I don't know, but it was just sort of funny how he managed to sort of have that interaction with those different groups of people, and just to kind of sort of pit them against each other in a way. So it added to a lot of humor, which I think most people really enjoyed. So a couple tips I will say. If you can find a discount, for sure, find the discount, because this really is not a cheap show. If it's worth $150, I think is debatable. It's only about 1.5 hours, as I mentioned, and it's a very small setting, very intimate. There's only a few hundred seats in there. It's very, very small. You're basically just around like a 9x9 foot stage in a circular environment. It is a bit expensive, though, I have to say, especially if you are trying to do multiple shows. If this is your only show, maybe it's not so bad, but if you're here for a few days and you're doing multiple shows, it will quickly add up, especially if you are planning on getting drinks as well. Another tip I will mention as well is, if you don't want to get picked on, then do not sit in the front row. Do not sit anywhere near the Gazillionaire's throne. Do not sit anywhere near the stage. Kind of try and sit maybe further back, and maybe dress sort of neutral, you know, just don't do anything or that's gonna make you stand out, because you will probably get picked on if you do. Also be prepared that if you are gonna get picked on, try not to get offended, because it's very easy. I could see how, you know, some people may take things offensively, so just go there with an open mind. Now they did recently open up a couple extra things around there as well. There's a bar before you get in there. I believe there's a place you can get a deal where if you get like sort of dinner and the show or something like that as well. So look into that before you go as well. It's definitely worth looking into. But is the spot right for you? I will say, if you have seen other Spiegelworld shows and you find them funny, entertaining, you don't get offended, then you're probably gonna love this as well. Like if you've seen like Opium, which is, you know, RIP, has recently closed, or if you've seen Atomic Saloon, or maybe if you traveled out of town, you've seen, you know, The Hook, for example, in Atlantic City. I know a few years ago we had Empire in Toronto, back in 2015, I believe it was. But any of these Spiegelworld shows, if you find yourself, you know, enjoying that type of humor, then you're probably gonna enjoy this as well. This is definitely not for the person who gets easily offended. This is not for the person who's perhaps a little more conservative. This is definitely more so for somebody who's, you know, super outgoing, super, you know, doesn't get offended too easily. Let's just put it that way, because you're gonna hear some very inappropriate words. You're gonna hear some, you know, just, yeah, very, very inappropriate things, and, you know, some very interesting and unique acts. Anyway, if you guys have any questions, or if you feel like I've missed anything, please do not hesitate to ask below. I'm, you know, try to always answer as many questions as I possibly can. It's helpful for other travelers too, because I'm sure a lot of them probably have the same questions as you do. It's also really helpful for me because, you know, any interaction you have with my videos, whether you're liking, commenting, sharing, subscribing, it all helps with the YouTube algorithm. If you're not currently subscribed, I would really appreciate if you hit the subscribe button. It's right in the corner there. It's completely free for you. Really helps me keep delivering this free content to you. It really helps me keep, you know, the channel growing, and I'd really, really appreciate it. Once again, this has been Daniel with Spotlight, and we will see you in the next one. Viva Las Vegas. Bye.